The SuperCHEAP Superduty. And Buddy the dog, who's not really interested in it. But we've had this truck for several years now, and it's time for it to get some more love again, because it's got an issue that's driving me nuts, and I want to figure out what it is. So we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver, man. And it's probably been almost, what, 3 years now since we bought this, almost to the day. We bought it in November at an auction, and it's been great. As a matter of fact, I've done almost nothing to it since we first got it running, including not replacing the mirror that was destroyed, because the glass is still there. You know, who cares if it's not got the backside? But that's not the issue. The issue is it has been making, and we even investigated this once before on a video here a while back, it makes a whirring sound when you're driving down the road, you know, like, and it changes with the speed you're going. And so naturally my first assumption was front wheel bearings, you know, and the front wheel bearings, we jacked up the truck, and I couldn't feel any play or anything, and the people before me said that they had just replaced them. So, you know, whatever. I also see now, just looking at it, that we have a potential brake and caliper problem on this wheel. So maybe there is more problems than meets the eye, and maybe it's finally gotten to the point where a guy would notice it. But in the last installment of that, when I did that, somebody commented and said, hey, a lot of the times we found that that noise is made by the lockout hubs themselves. And I thought, well, that would certainly make sense. I have never messed with these lockout hubs. They are like auto lockers, and one position, and I don't know if I can even read it anymore. Yeah, it's in the auto position. So they also are stuck. But if you turn it to this way, it would be locked in all the time. And if you turn it like it is now, it's in auto. And the issue becomes, based on the ones that I've seen looking it up on the internet, a lot of that hub is made of plastic. And so what can happen is it can cock in there, or something breaks, and then it's like half locked in, and it's sitting there, and that is exactly the type of sound that it's making. Almost like the four-wheel drive is not letting loose all the way, or two sets of teeth are grinding, you know, like that. That's exactly what it sounds like. So I went ahead and bought a pair of brand new hubs for it, and we're going to put those on and see if it doesn't fix our issue. Because what it should do is, even if the vacuum system fails, then it should just not have four-wheel drive. But we do have four-wheel drive. It does catch in, but I don't know which wheel does. But in other words, what I'm saying is maybe this wheel isn't releasing all the way, is what I'm thinking. So even if it doesn't fix the problem, I don't see the harm in spending the money and replacing these, because obviously, like I just found there, that one won't turn anymore. And I've watched videos of guys trying to get those to work again, but there's so much of them that's made of plastic, I just don't think that it's going to be worth it. However, we are going to have to investigate our brake situation, because I can see, like I said, I can see that that rotor is becoming grooved. And so I didn't think that my brakes were that bad, but I don't know. Maybe I'm an aggressive driver. I don't think I've ever touched the front. I guess both of them are equally pathetic, so it's probably time for some brakes and rotors on the front, you know. I never touched them. We focused on the back and got that wheel fixed. That was what sent the truck to its, you know, eternal auction home there, because that's what caused the whole issue. And nobody knew that's what it was at the time, but that's what it was. And I think I even bought a caliper for the other side of the truck, and I've never put it on. It's in the back seat. So, you know, that's that back then one wheel has brand new brakes and everything in it, and the other wheel is everything that was on it when I got it. So yeah, this thing has been awesome. I mean, it just keeps giving. So it's time to give it a little love back, you know. And we're gonna start with this and see if it fixes our problem. If it doesn't fix our problem, I guess I'll put a new bearing on that wheel anyway and see if that quiets her down. But then it looks like it's also gonna need brakes and calipers and all that while I'm in there. So that ain't gonna be cheap. The bearing is $500, so I like how they make it affordable for you. And it's one of those where it's a complete assembly, so there's nothing you could do to save money. I mean, it's one unit and you take it or leave it. So we're gonna drive down to closer to where the tools are. It's also now gonna start to rain, because why not, you know? Anytime I want to do something, it starts to rain. So let's just, whilst we're sitting here, let's see if we can open this box and see what these look like. These are supposed to be super simple to change, more than the old time ones ever were, because basically you got 3 bolts and you're good to go. Yeah, see how nice that looks? And the thing is, it's got like, these are all plastic tabs, and it's got plastic cage and stuff, and so that's what I'm assuming is maybe taking place, is that some of that plastic stuff is broken and whatever. But here you can see how it works, you know. Right now it's in the locked in all the time position. If you wanted an auto lock, you put it here, and then everything should freewheel. So we're gonna give it a go and see if this don't fix our problem. So let's get the tools. Before we do that, let me give you the visual from the side. So right now we're in auto lock. Here we're in full lock position all the time. So auto is disengaged essentially, and then the vacuum will pull it together and make it 4-wheel drive. So anywho, that's where we are. So we're gonna need some type of prying apparatus to get that little trim ring thing off of there. And then I believe it's a T27 that holds those things on, and there's only 3 bolts. And it's a lot simpler to change these than it was on the old trucks. The old trucks, you had to take the cover, the switcher thing off. Then you had a snap ring on the little shaft, and you had a lock ring around the big thing, and you had to screw the bolts in and try to pull it out of there and all that stuff. And this is just 3 bolts, pop it in and go. So this should work good, but I'm sure we'll twist something off or something will cause a problem, and then we'll have struggles. But you know, let's just dive in and see what happens. All right. Oh, there's the notch is even up on top. How about that? How lovely. Now, what are the ooh. Well, so far so good. I did not think that those would come out like that, friends. That is nothing short of amazing. The other thing, I'm hoping that when we look at it, we see something is wrong. That way we know we're on the right track. It's when we don't find anything wrong that it really sucks, because then we probably spend all our money for nothing. But I don't know why ooh, I think when I took that loose, I just heard something let loose. So maybe my theory was correct. It's gonna start raining more on me so that I get soaking wet, because if I didn't, what fun would that be? This is probably gonna be a struggle. Oh, there we go. Oh, bother. I don't see anything wrong with that, like I was hoping. Shoot. I was really hoping that that was the culprit. This actually doesn't look bad if it wasn't for the fact that I can't move that at all. But then again, I suppose it might be the other wheel too. It may not be this wheel that's causing the issue. It just sounds like it out there. Boy, it looks good in there. But that stands to reason if those were just replaced. I mean, I don't know. That's another bummer. Here I thought we were gonna find a catastrophe and then we would know exactly what the problem was. All right, now the old internet feller said the grease are up a little bit, so we're gonna put a little grease on there. It looks excellent though. I mean, it looks really good. Maybe I don't know. Don't know where we're gonna go from here. All right. We want to put our, let's see here. We want to put our bolt holes back about where they were. What I'm saying is try to use the ones that we had. Well, if nothing else, it looks pretty. The four-wheel drive is kind of clunky when you engage it, and that was another symptom of these hubs being messed up. And that's what led me to this whole progression. That I thought, well, it was worth the time. I should have probably just spent the extra money and got the manual lockouts and then switched it away from vacuum, but it's kind of handy to be able to just vacuum it on, you know. There, now I should be able to, that's on and that's off. So that's pretty sweet. I should probably move it every so often just to make sure that it's really, you know, what it is. Here's another little fun fact about trucks, which I don't know. I guess there's a reason why they did it, but this does not go over the nut that's sticking out of the truck. This does. They're off. So I don't know why they did that. I'm sure it was for the ease of molding. I think that's right. Sure. Let's do the other side. All right, let's see if this side is the same result or if this side will be something different. Let's do a twist check. Oh, this side actually twists, whereas the other side won't. So, is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Two. Let's try the third one. All right. Come on. Come on. Guess I gotta get a screwdriver on this one. That might be a good sign. Maybe this one's messed up. It's causing us problems. All right. Come on, baby. This one's gonna be like new, isn't it? Ooh. Oh. Now that one. Yeah, this one's good too. It's very, this one's got a lot more stiff action to it though. And it let a lot more rest into it. This is kind of weird here. And what I'm wondering is, it almost looks to me like whoever replaced the wheel bearing, like it was 2 different people, or it was 2 different times or something, because this one is much less. This one's got grease in it. The other one had none. I don't know. That's bizarre. I don't. Here's a visual though of how this works though. See, there it freewheels, and then you turn her to lock. Ooh, this one is messed up, right? Okay. Well, that was weird. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know enough about these to know whether something like that could happen, but right there it did what would make that noise to me, like it was halfway on those splines. And see if I can create the noise. Okay, like it sounded. That's the noise, like going down the road. Like imagine that, really high pitched, like spinning really fast, and it's only because it didn't release quite all the way. And that's what I'm working on here. That's why I did this. I thought that would be the thing we would find, and maybe we'd find some of these tabs broken off where the gear was cocked, and then again maybe it's some of these springs we're not letting it do, or something was binding. But that's why I did it, because that's the noise that I heard, like 2 sets of splines that weren't mating up right. So we're gonna drive it here in a minute, and we're gonna see if we accomplish something, because maybe it is, maybe it's just you know, the new ones, obviously they're much more smooth and operate beautiful, so maybe old ones were just hanging up a little bit or something, and that was our issue. Would have been nice if I'd have brought some type of a thing with me to clean my hands. Come on. What's happening here? Why is this one not wanting to go? Okay. I guess it's not happy because I'm not down in the dirt. That's the way my life usually likes to be, where I'm down in the dirt. There. Sure. Well, I'm gonna have to go get my paper towels now. There should be some in the truck. Keep making a mess. I know that's shocking, friends. Shocking that I would make a mess. All right, now let's do a test. All right, let me go get a paper towel and wipe this off a little. Yes, once again, locked in, locked out. I guess another potential issue, which I never thought about, would be what if the vacuum system was leaking somewhere and it was letting a little vacuum through, and it was trying to pull the 4-wheel drive on, but not enough to pull it all the way. I guess that's That's a potential. You know, if I would have got the manual lockouts, I could have locked them out of four-wheel drive where they weren't in at all. You know, so maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should have got the totally manual ones and just done away with the vacuum system, because maybe this is still going to be an issue, but I won't notice it because I didn't fix the part that's actually the problem. Like, in other words, the like maybe the dash switch is letting some vacuum go down there, and I don't know. We're gonna drive it now. We're gonna see if our whirring went away. I have low hopes now that I have seen what I've seen, but all right. 231,481 miles. Somebody asked about that the other night. That's what the truck has on it. I mean, I don't know. Don't know what kind of life it led. Pretty rough one, I would say, because it was owned by a construction company. So, ooh. Well, what you're gonna want to do is bottom your hitch out in the side of the hill. So that's necessary to do that. I did a pretty good one. Dug a nice hole. Come on, little buddy. Let's let that have fixed it so that I actually accomplished something for a change. It almost, I don't want to say it feels like it's better, but it's not though. I think I hear it already. I might just be paranoid, you know? No, I still hear that noise. I bet you can't hear it on camera. It sounds like a wheel bearing, you know? It sounds like a wheel bearing. And then again, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just these tires. But I don't think that these tires make that sound, because this is the same kind of tire that I put on everything. And they don't usually make noise like that. Maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe this makes that noise. I don't know. I hate to just start replacing stuff. I mean, it's really not a super loud noise. Like if I open the window, I can't hear it more necessarily than I already do. I do hear the brakes squealing though a little bit, so it definitely needs brakes. See, when I have the window open, it doesn't sound bad at all. When the window's up is when you hear it really much. So maybe it's just the vibration of something else along life's way. Because I sure don't, I don't know. This may seem foolish to you, friends, but see, like there, you hear it winding down as you stop. I don't know, let's try four-wheel drive again. Is four-wheel drive locked in? Yep, you can feel it. You can feel it on your steering wheel when four-wheel drive is locked in. Now let's take four-wheel drive out. You can feel that it's unlocked. I always backed up on the old trucks to get them, make sure they were unlocked, but well, Knudsen. Well, friends, I accomplished nothing there other than spending money, and I guess that's one thing. It looks prettier now, but that did not make my noise go away. and I'm confused as to what it is, or if it's just in my brain and maybe it's not really there. This is the same problem I have with running a combine. Anytime I hear a squeak or a little vibration or something, it drives me crazy because I'm trying to prevent something bad from happening before it happens, and maybe there's no problem at all. Maybe it's totally concocted by my brain. I do think that those other ones were not always letting loose the right way, because sometimes when you drive it, you could feel like, for example, if I was going around a corner, it would feel all at once like the four-wheel drive was grabbing, and then it would go away. So I don't know if that was the fault of those things, or if that was the fault of vacuum not working correctly on somewhere, and maybe that is part of my problem. I guess I could theoretically pinch off the vacuum lines and drive it and see if that, you know, like if I'd pinch these off, or no, it's these up here. Like I could simulate no vacuum to them, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. Another thing I might do is well, double grease these again, because yeah, see, I'm testing this to make sure they're not really locked in, and they're not, because I can turn it. So I could grease these all, because sometimes that makes goofy things happen, but because it probably hasn't been greased in a while, to be honest with you. But they don't feel bad at all. Like, I don't feel like that would not cause the noise that we're having. I was working on, well, maybe this plate was vibrating, causing part of our problem, but I don't think so. That's warm, but it's appropriate amount of warm from driving and using the brakes. It's not, yeah, I don't feel like it's, this side feels less warm though. See, there's another thing. I'm second guessing things and inventing problems that probably don't really exist. Backing plate's kind of garbage on this one. Uh-oh. Well, now this side feels like it's not letting loose. Is this the culprit? Something about this doesn't seem right. Maybe it's just the way the truck's sitting. That's interesting. That's a lot of slop there, I think. And the fact that it won't let loose. That could be part of my problem. But that also makes no sense why that would be grabbing. I just don't know. All right, well, we tried some more stuff, friends. I took that other hub out again because the U-joint on that side seemed like it was pretty stiff. I greased both of them. I've drove it around for a while in four-wheel drive. I put that hub back in and stuff's turning like it's supposed to. You're about out of battery though, so you're probably gonna go away again. But basically, I don't wanna say that we failed, because the stuff we put on does work correctly, and the one side was, the latch was stuck, and now it's good again. But that did not fix the original problem that I intended to fix, which is that strange sound that I'm hearing. So I'm supposing that I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and go ahead and try, I guess I'll buy a new bearing for this side and replace it and see what's what, you know. Even if it was replaced, that's been several years ago now, and I'm not saying that that one wasn't bad right away, you know. I worked at the auto parts store, and a lot of those pre-made bearing assemblies would come back in short order. So I think I would feel better trying that, and then also it needs brakes and calipers. So it's going to be $1,000 bill, but the truck has done good for us. It hasn't asked anything, you know. It's still going. There's no sign that there's something wrong. Average person, especially if they were hard of hearing, wouldn't even know. They'd drive it happily all across this land. But I just can't do that without trying to find that before something bad happens. I mean, it would get a lot worse before the wheel would fall off or something like that, but I don't like that sound. It sounds like wheel bearing going out, and I want to try to fix that before that becomes an issue. But anyway, just as predicted, you ran out of battery, but right now it's in about as good a shape as it can be. Greasing those things up really helped it too. That made a noticeable difference in how it takes the corners and stuff when you're in four-wheel drive, because before it was getting kind of shaky because the U-joints were getting stiff. The one on that far side it's not the best. I'm not really impressed with that, but I did just help it by driving it around in four-wheel drive after greasing it a bunch, because when I put this hub back in the second time, it slid right in, and there was no finicking with it to try to get it to go in there like there was the first time we did it. It just went straight in like it's supposed to. So I think we're good on that regard. At least we know our hubs are in excellent shape. So now our next affair is going to be, we'll try a wheel bearing. Like I said, they're $500 a piece, so I just can't justify $1,000 for my mental state here. I mean, because there may not be anything wrong with it, and it's just a noise in my brain. But I don't know. I feel like this side should get one at least, and we'll try, and then we'll see what happens. Even though it looks like it's been replaced very recently, maybe the year or two that it sat over there, or it probably sat a year to a year and a half. That could have been enough for that bearing to get a flat spot on it or a dry spot or something. And when I started driving it, it just kept getting worse. I mean, that makes sense in my brain. I mean, maybe that's a thing, but like I said, I hate to just spend money willy-nilly, but I also like to be alive, so I don't want to fool around with stuff that could potentially cause a bad problem later on down the line. But also, it has a long way to go before it gets deadly. I mean, it would have to overcome a lot of stuff, and it would get increasingly worse, I would think, and start to be loose feeling and everything else, where this one is not. It doesn't feel loose, but maybe it has a flat spot on a ball on one of the inside that bearing where it sat, the grease went away, and then I started driving it and it wore. I don't know. But we are going to call this one here, and it is a success because we did get the hubs changed and they work correctly, and you can turn both of them by hand now. So that was, I guess, money well spent. If that's something, you know, I can move the lockouts now is what I'm saying. And yeah, I mean, the factory parts, those were like, I want to say they were $345 for the pair, which wasn't bad. The aftermarket ones were over $500. So either I'm not looking in the right place or that stuff's really expensive. I know lockouts usually are expensive, but that's the way she goes. I will say these are the easiest ones I've ever done. I mean, that system, 3 bolts, slide it all in as one, that was super simple. We had it done in no time, really. Whereas the other ones, you fight with snap rings and stuff and twist off a bolt and what have you. But we're going to call this one here. We gave it a little love, and hopefully it will continue to provide us with some good years of service, because it's been a pretty good rig for no more than we got in it. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.